welcome to Football Bloody Hell. And I'm here with Gary, as per usual, and we're doing... I don't even know what episode it is. It's season 2, but we're recording towards the end of the Euros now, and England in a bit of a position. But how are you feeling anyway, Gary? How's you? Before we talk about that.
I'm good, mate. I've been started a new job, and a couple of weeks into that, so my mind has been fully distracted by that. To not get too over, to not get too hyped up and ramped up for Sunday. How about you?
Yeah, good. I've moved house. I think
You have?
probably most people will notice the background is slightly different. There's a few more doors behind me. Like, I
a couple of
doors to my old house. I've actually moved. So yeah.
Yeah, you've just moved. You're lying. You've just moved position. You've just turned the camera.
Yeah, and just put loads of doors in my room. That weren't there before. As you do.
Yeah, they're all fake, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think it's
fake doors. Yeah.
Yeah, real fake doors just lying there. Nice. But yeah, all good. Just is it? I had a question for you though. Just is it?
Don't know. I watched an analysis.
Is it though?
I watched an analysis of Spain, and I'm worried.
Oh no! Do you know what it is? Like the question to anybody listening, if you haven't already cottoned on though, is it coming home?
Yeah,
because I said it wasn't, and then yeah.
There's a lot of blind luck that's been involved, and if that blind luck continues, then it is genuine.
Is it? So I don't necessarily disagree, but give us some examples of the blind luck, because I think you're going to say one penalty.
Ivan Toney coming on in that game, that was blind luck.
Do you think?
Well, he's brought him on the 92nd minute. 9 times out of 10, that nothing happens. Genuinely, 9 times out of 10, nothing happens. We'll talk about the penalty against Netherlands, which probably wasn't a penalty, but we'll take it.
See, right. So for anybody listening now, when me and Matt come to record this, I personally said no agenda. There's no structure. In the Euro final, and our last episode was it's not coming home.
Yeah. And
since we've recorded that, we're now in the final of the Euros. Potentially, it's coming home. Yeah. So if we don't follow a structure, and the first talking point for me would be the penalty.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my brother about this as well, and he made a good point in saying that if the striker had did the same thing that the defender, would a free kick be given? 100% it would. So now the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah.
That's his argument, which is a really good argument. Mine is, if you look at the angle, that it's instantly what he hasn't though.
That's what it looks like to me.
He's from my biased perspective. So let's get that out of the way. But from my biased perspective, Kane has went for the volley, and is he put off by the defender? Yes. Does the defender have the right to attempt to tackle him? Of course he does. But when you commit yourself, hip height, studs up, and don't get the ball, I think the fault is on Dumfries.
Oh yeah. There's multiple. The thing is though, there's multiple instances where that is given and where it isn't as well. There's a lot in
like if it's outside the box, it's a free kick, no issue.
It's like the Man City Liverpool game with McAllister being kicked in the chest in the middle of the box.
Very true.
That wasn't given as a penalty. Because
but I thought that was...
it was a fair attempt at the ball. So which one is correct?
I know. I suppose that's the frustration, isn't it? Because it's like the rule, and you can say this about penalties, you can say this about handballs and whatever. It's more the frustration that the rule, because that can be given.
Yeah.
Whereas personally, I thought there was two angles. There's one where it's like from behind Kane, and it looks like Dumfries gets the ball. But if you look at the one from the opposite angle, Kane actually kicks it first, and then Dumfries' toe looks like it kicks it off, but it doesn't. And then Kane obviously follows through, and Dumfries' foot's there, and he does kick him. Kane kicks him, but it's only Kane kicking him because he's put his leg out hip height and doesn't get the ball and just clatters into Kane. So is it harsh? Maybe. But at the end of the day, Matt, who gives a fuck? Because it was 1-1, and it wasn't like it was the winning goal. They had God knows how many minutes, and
so I think
we
that
scored.
First half was probably arguably
our best.
The first 10 minutes were pretty shit, but like after that, after the penalty was scored, let's say, then so that was what 16 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was like about 18, something 16, like that. But yeah,
so for about half an hour of that first half, after the penalty scored, England, that was probably the best England has played in this whole tournament. In terms of forward flowing and attacking football. Then it went a bit stale in the second half. Like they'd been, let's hold back, let's it wasn't as good. I think also Netherlands sort of figured us out a little bit.
I think that they changed as well.
Yeah, they did.
And
they made changes.
You said it, and a lot of people have been critical of Southgate in-game tactics, and he doesn't really seem to have a lot in like-for-like changes. However, I think a little bit of maybe a change. Like, he didn't just do like-for-like subs in...
No, he didn't quite, did he? He changed it, went slightly more positive. Again, albeit he did it a bit late, which I think most people moan about anyway, but like him doing it a bit late. I think Harry Kane was pretty much ineffectual in that game.
Yeah.
For 80 minutes, other than the penalty, for 80 minutes of that game, like there was no one. The defenders were laughing really because they didn't have to mark anyone. They didn't have to do anything.
It's weird because like I wouldn't say I love Harry Kane or anything like that. Like obviously he's one of the best strikers in the world, and you can't just like I've seen some of the stats like he's outscored in his first season like closer and stuff like 40 plus goals in the Bundesliga, and I don't care what anybody says about the Bundesliga. I think that's probably the best, if not one of the best leagues in the world. To go over there in your first season and not speak the language. I mean, I can list all the different things to say how good of a striker he is, but what people are criticizing,
though, don't they?
Exactly, like, and we don't. But we for the first few games we've made him play exactly the same as he has, but took away what made him effective with like Sterling, Rashford, or Grealish, or whoever it was on the wings running in behind him. And I think I don't really know what we're trying to do with him, but I know Southgate's putting him on the pitch because he can do that. I think the things that outside of his goals, Kane, one of the best things he's good at is like alleviating pressure. The amount of fouls he can buy, like when he backs in and then goes down, or headers he goes up for and then takes the foul and digs us out and wins a free kick. He hasn't done that.
He hasn't done that at all, has he? I think,
and that makes up for the lack of things sometimes, and he just hasn't done that either. And I'm like,
he hasn't really done much. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because like usually he's half decent at doing that. And like this tournament, he holds up the ball and loses it, or does a flick on to no one, or just collects the ball deep, turns and tries to take on like 6 players and loses the ball. Or his runs a little bit. He's a bit slow at getting into the box as well, because he comes so deep. When we're in a crossing position, he should be in the box ready for like a header or cutting across the defender or something like that. He's miles off the pace, like. Miles.
It's been quite a...
And I think with Bayern Munich, probably the way that they play is he does drop deep. He does that for Bayern Munich. But the thing is, though, they have someone who switches in and goes forward. So when he drops deep, someone goes forward to be a target. Whereas we have no one to do that. So we have 2 out wingers. Well, 1 out-and-out winger. An inverted winger. And then he drops deep. Bellingham, him, Foden are all on each other's toes. When we do win the ball, there's only one place you can hit it, really, and that's to Saka. You can't hit it forward, and I think with Bayern Munich, what usually happens is like the 10 goes forward when he drops deep, if that makes sense. So then we have an outlet, which doesn't happen for England. Because we don't
but
really
it's
have
weird
a
though.
player to do that. I don't.
But
Bellingham doesn't really. He doesn't stand up. He's not going to stand up front because he wants to be involved, is he?
The thing is, right? If and obviously like you said, I definitely think I felt like in the first half of that game, even in the second half, because let's be honest, right? I know they hit the post from a corner, but Pickford didn't really have a lot to do. And I know the Netherlands haven't been great, but I would say that's probably our first, in inverted commas, real test of the tournament. And we were in control, and it took a wonder goal. And maybe, the pace took it past Pickford, and people criticise Pickford's little arms and stuff.
Declan Rice gave the ball away. Like there's loads of little things leading to it, but then you can't take away. Xavi Simons scored an absolute squirrler.
Yeah,
screamer.
Squirler.
Yeah, let's call it a squirler from now on.
The naughty squirler
scored a squirler as well.
Yeah, but in reality, it took a squirler of a goal to take the lead, and outside of that, who was on top? It was us, and the only time it really changed and taught like us being in complete control. And when I say control, I don't mean like enemies at the gate pounding at them and stuff like that. It was just possession. We never looked in danger. We never looked like we were going to lose the ball or anything. And then they changed their shape, probably forced into it when Depay went off, and then obviously they brought Vault on, and I think that kind of nullified it a bit because they had an extra body in midfield.
Yeah,
but I think just to your point when you're saying about like the tens dropping in and Bellingham, what's happening is from what I've seen in that game, and obviously I feel like it's just started to click. I feel like the players just clicked in at the right time in that game, and I thought obviously Foden had his best game of the tournament. Like I think the first half, he was really unlucky with his not to get a goal, like from the ball, that really tight ball from Mainu, when the keeper just took the sting off the ball and got kept off the line, and then obviously he hit the post.
Footwork. Bloody hell! I don't even know how he got it through him.
I don't know how he got his shot off. I thought he'd overcarried it, but then I think it worked. And I don't know what was happening because Kane was still dropping in. But the problem you have is it's like the amount of times, and I'm not just digging him out because I like as much as the Newcastle whatever. Trippier's playing out of position, and it's annoying because he won't go down the left hand side and cuts back in. The amount of times I saw Trippier apologise, put his hand up to Bellingham because Bellingham had made that arch and run. And if you go back through the tournaments, the amount of times I've seen that run on the left hand side, whether it was Foden, whether it was Bellingham, whether it was Kane, whoever, and Trippier just because of the angle he can't receive it on his left hand foot like Shaw would. It goes back in because he's not confident enough to trip it over, which is he doesn't want to lose the ball, and that's probably because we play a possession-based style, and it's just so frustrating. So I think over time you'll know, and even when you play five-a-side, like doesn't matter what level you're at, if you keep making the same run which you're told to do and continuously don't do it, it's like, well, I'm going to stop. Like I'm going to tire. I'm going to save my energy to when somebody is going to play the pass, and I think that's what's happened. I mean, in general, I don't mean like Trippier's at fault for the whole tournament of stinkiness that we've had previous to the Netherlands, but I just mean like that kind of mentality where you go to do it and then it doesn't happen, and Trippier's out of position and Foden's not running down the left, so
yeah. I think there was a few instances in that game and the one before where that's happened. Walker's done it as well, where he's got it right on the byline, and you think he's going to cross it, he doesn't, and then pass it backwards. And you thought, just whip it in, have some confidence in yourself, because there's like 3 or 4 players waiting in the box for it.
But then the amount of, like, again, against Switzerland, I think Saka was really good, and then he wasn't as good.
Saka's, he does it.
He manages to find that ball across, doesn't he? Like, but when he was firing the balls across the box,
there was no one there.
It was either at the front post, but there was nobody in the 6, and it's like,
yeah.
Where are you, Kane? Like that's. But then if Kane stays up, people say he doesn't do anything in a game. But that's the point I was making about Kane is if you're going to stand up front, like you've been told to do, stay out of the way and just let the creative players do it. Do what you do well in when the ball's played long to you, win the header or win the foul,
Yeah.
buy a foul. He's so good at that, but he's just been quite ineffective. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of I'd prefer Watkins coming on to Tony, regardless of the state of play. But I don't think we're being overly negative or critical here. I just think we're like stating what we've seen and stuff. But I think if you look back now, and I know we're at the final, and the objective for me, I think we said quarters realistically.
Yeah,
said thinking back,
quarters would be good. Yeah, that's what we said.
And then,
And
I mean,
after
at the
first
time,
couple of
obviously, we
games,
didn't know
were
the
probably
route.
justified in saying that, I think.
Yeah. But then I think, has Southgate got his flaws, and can he be critical of him? Yes, but you've got and I don't want to just be like turning my opinion because it's romanticised and it's got like through rose-tinted glasses because we are in the final. But all he can do is beat who's in front of him to get to the final. A final is, in my eyes, getting to the final is a success. But I know people will think, no, it's only a success if you win. You don't remember the runner-up. But in our lifetime, right, and this might be because I'm a Sunderland fan and I've only ever seen us win the championship and never really do anything else. Like, that's not just like to take the mick out of myself, but well, playoffs, yeah, you know what I mean. Playoffs or get promoted, you know what I mean. It's like, I just think it'd be amazing to win, but this is the best era of English football I've ever experienced in my lifetime. What, we're both like 35, 37, whatever. And even for my dad, like my dad remembers, like we as a country, we look back at like 1990 in England and we didn't win anything, but it was like, oh, it was amazing, like blah 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 blah. We've surpassed that twice with him, and he's still lambasted a bit. And I just think, is it? I don't know. I just think. I heard a Scottish person say this, and he said like, "Look,
effective in tournament football, but when it comes to like a long, like friendlies or, I mean, qualifications, you're playing teams that are like Championship, League One standards. So that's fine. Like, but
he's consistently done it.
Consistent,
like he's consistently.
I think what people. Yeah, it's a difficult one.
I'm not saying he can't be criticised, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I think it's a difficult one because consistently does get us to get as far in major tournaments. It is what he needs though is to beat a team at the top of their game because that's what he hasn't done.
Do you think if we win it on the Sunday, people will look at that Spain team and go, but it wasn't the Spain of late?
No, because that Spain team
of yesteryear,
spanking everyone left, right, and centre. And they're playing very, very good football. If we beat Spain on Sunday, I would consider that beating a top team. And that would be the first time we've probably done it in a tournament. Usually we get to play the top team and then lose, or we play a team like Italy, which we realistically should have beat and lose. But, yeah.
I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be easy, and I think it's going to be a stalemate again. Of course it's going to be a stalemate. I think Spain's going to have a lot of the ball, but I'm more relaxed about us playing Spain than I was Netherlands. Yeah, I do. I'm not sat here thinking, "Oh, we're going to win." It's not that kind of feeling. It's more a feeling of like, and it's not even like massive underdogs. It's weird. It's just I feel like the way we've played, just trust him. Just trust in what he's done, because even I know that's the Slovenia result and stuff and the performance. We've taken a long time to get up to speed, but then everybody. I shouldn't stereotype the fans' voice, but like a lot of people were calling out for Trent to be played in the centre mid. A lot of people weren't. He's tried to do that, and then in tournament he changed it and haven't been playing well. And I personally, and I'm not just saying it because he's doing it now, but I personally think the way we played best under Southgate was when he had three at the back and he had Kyle Walker as that right centre half, and it's no surprise to me that we're doing that, and it gives you but for some reason it worked, and I mean it got us to a final and he abandoned it, and I'm like, well, why? Like, you shouldn't. But personally, will I be disappointed if we don't win it? Yes, obviously, but he's got us to a final again, and we had a moment, that Ollie Watkins thing. I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because it was just brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and I'm glad that we've got that moment because let's be honest, I think if you look at it on paper and from what we've seen, you'd put Spain as the favourites, but I'm just glad we had a moment because if we don't win it, which would be the biggest moment ever, the fact that I got to sit and watch Ollie Watkins and like the basic, I know it was the last kick of the game, but you knew you'd won it when he scored. We had one of them moments, and I'll remember that forever. So it's been fun.
I think Ollie Watkins has done really well considering how little minutes he's actually played. Like for both times he's actually come on, I thought actually he's done really well, and a lot of the subs have done that. I do feel that's one thing you could criticise. If he wants to change the games, he should do it quicker and he should bring on these players a bit earlier. Because we were screaming out for someone to run at the defenders, weren't we, really, to alleviate a bit of pressure. He gave him 10 minutes and it worked, but
then doesn't matter then, does it? It's in hindsight. It doesn't matter.
Isn't it?
Just
that's the thing. Like it's sort of like I feel like a lot of his substitutes are planned. I get that impression. Like a lot of it's quite planned,
premeditated. Like it's 70 minutes, regardless. It's gonna.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Yeah,
because any other manager would have seen how Harry Kane was dropping a fucking stinker in that game and would have bought him off about 55 minutes. You know what I mean? And I also thought he was planned to bring off Kieran Trippier at half time for Luke Shaw because he thought, oh, Luke Shaw doesn't have a whole match in him, so I'm not going to start him, but I'm going to bring him on at half time. So they knew, both of them probably knew that was going to happen at half time.
Yeah, Luke Shaw's not ready, is he? Yeah. I think he has only got about 20 minutes in him.
Half time because he was like, I can't start him, but I want to bring him on, and I want to give him at least a half because he needs the minutes. And he's playing it like it's a league game, like end of season league game with, oh, he needs minutes in him. He's just come back from injury. Oh yeah, I'll give him a half. It doesn't matter if we draw 1-1. It's fine. Like it's a fucking semi-final. But like, but no, do you know what I mean though? Like, there's a real lack of like cohesion. There's tactical subs, and then there's premeditated. Give people minutes because they have to have them subs.
At the same time. And again, I'm saying this in the backdrop of us winning, but do you not think there's a bit of... I know there is that premeditated substitution, but at the same time, do you not think it's like... It's good that he's treating it as a league game, because he might think... I mean, maybe not as a league game, but...
Away with it,
No, not so much. I just mean like... Because he's looking at it and thinking, the game isn't done at 90 minutes. Yeah, and does he just trust the players to go through extra time and look at the bench and say, look how good, like, nobody wants to go to penalties, regardless how good you are, because look at Portugal.
Yeah.
Like, that can happen. But maybe he just thinks, if it goes to penalties, I trust them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to stick up for him too much, but I just think...
It was nice to see some reaction subs, I think. Spain did it in their game against France, didn't they? When they see it, they were getting overloaded a little bit on the Jesus Navas side with Mbappe, and then they changed it up a bit, made some substitutions, and completely changed the game to the other way. Like I'd like to see him do that. Like I don't think I've seen him do that really. Like he does. Even though he's switched players in, like he's brought Ollie Watkins on for Kane, it's a different type of player, but essentially it is just a striker for a striker.
Yeah, I suppose it's weird because I think, do you know what it is, right? If we lose on Saturday, which I'm quite confident, you know, it's not because, I don't know, I feel better about
of scoring very last, like you say, if he's treating it like a league. Yeah, and this all comes back to it. The champions who win a league, they can play badly and still score in the 90th minute and win 1-0. And they don't care because they've won 1-0. I feel like with that sort of team, we're dull. No one likes watching us. We're fucking boring. And we'll score in the 91st minute, and you better hope that it's exactly all at that point.
we are the anti-football team there.
We're basically... if Mourinho wrote a book on tactics, I think it would be that, wouldn't it?
But would you care though? Like if we win it, like nobody's
No,
going to
no one's
remember.
going to care. At the end of the day, if England win the Euros, it's going to be amazing. Like we have to admit it. Would it have been nice to spank a couple of teams on the way? Yeah, of course it would.
Oh, no.
Would it have been nice to be excited? But we did get excited for a minute. So
Yeah, we did. Like
even if
the amount of times
if we win 1-0 and it's the most boring game on the planet, like you said, at least we got excited for that 1 minute when Ollie Watkins scored. So like, just remember that. Like nothing else. Tournament was shit. Like,
what I was going to say though,
going, but like,
no, what I was going to say is it's so funny now because I forgot it's like that philosophical thing. I can't remember who it is, but it's like when you look into a cupboard and a glass is up against the glass.
Yeah.
And if you open the cupboard, it breaks. But if you don't do anything, it's still
fine, yeah.
broken. It's broken, but not broken at the same time. It's like paradoxical.
Yeah.
It's the same as what we're doing now because like we're in the final. We could both lose and we could win. It's like
yeah.
So look, when I'm thinking about it now, I've got that in my mind, thinking how weird it must be if you're like a press off like a football journalist, because they'll be readying both sides, and it's just bizarre because
for
how bad he's been and how great it was. Because the way I see it is, if he pulls this off, and not just because it's Spain, and Spain have been fantastic, they should have, like, they've been really, really good. I'd say the best team in the tournament, arguably deserve to win it, especially because of the way they've got to the final, which also makes me think we're going to win it because we're shithousing our way through it. Love it. But if Southgate wins, all of the negative things that he's been pulled up on at the minute, which seem correct or fair, just, you could maybe back it up, I think like they'll be wiped away because if you look at it, he didn't get too much input out of the players too early. He's ground it out, did what he needed to do, and then when he didn't have the players to fit the positions, he's changed the formation. He's made substitutions like Tony, like Watkins, which he's been heavily criticised for, that he doesn't make substitutions, just like we have. He's brought them on at the right times. He's brought the right people on the right games to be effective at the right times and get the result. And if he does the same against Spain, it's just amazing. If he does do it, it's amazing how everything we'd criticise him for will be then looked back at and say, masterclass. But if he doesn't win, I would say then people are going to hammer him again. Like, Palmer should have got more minutes. Shaw should have got more minutes. Like, do you know what I mean? It's so like harsh, when in reality he's taken us to his second final, back-to-back finals. I don't know how many teams do that, but that's got to be looked at as like an achievement. Yeah. But again, I'm not trying to like. I'm not a massive like Southgate fan. It's not like I'm thinking, like lay off him. But it's similar to like more like Sunderland.
I'm not
we'll jump on
opinion that he's very tactically inept. I do think like he's making like you said, he's made the substitutions and they've worked, but did he expect them to work? I'm not so sure. I think he put them on and they happened to. It's
coming. Form's gone. The Cruz Campbell is kicking in.
We'll see how it copes, because if he goes and reverts to the way that we have been playing, where we let the team have the ball, Spain will walk around us, and I'm worried about that slightly. We have to play more positively and try and not press high, because I think Spain will play through a high press quite easily. I think we just need to stay solid, but also when we got the ball, use it better. I think we give it back to the other team so quickly, because we do that quite often. We did it against Switzerland, we did it against Netherlands, especially in the second half. They had a lot of the ball in our half, unopposed. If you do that to Spain, they'll punish you for it. And I don't think we played a team like that yet, where they're going to have a little bit more of the ball, and they could actually punish us for it.
we aren't pressing Spain. We try to press
we're
the
not.
Dutch, and we got caught out a couple of
exactly.
times. So here's the two topics then to carry us on, because I know we've got like another 30 minutes before we probably wrap it up.
30.
He says now. So the 2 points we'll say is then leading on basically from what you're saying now. So we'll look at like how you think Spain will play, and then we'll wrap it up with. I mean, we've got half an hour, so we could probably wrap this up in about 5 minutes if these are the only two topics. But
we could cover some other things. Think... There's other things going on in the football world at the moment as well.
Nope. So the first topic would be how do you think Spain will play, and how do you beat them? And the second one would be, does he make changes? Which you can probably you'll answer straight away with a single word answer. No.
What changes?
So I'll tell you what. Let's do that first then. So, do you think, given the way Watkins
will make changes? Oh no, he won't.
Do you think the starting lineup changes? That's the question. Do you think the starting lineup changes?
He might start Luke Shaw if he thinks he's fit enough to start, instead of Kieran Trippier, because Trippier's been awful. The only other player that can play in that position is Joe Gomez, and he hadn't played him for a minute. He actually played 19 matches for Liverpool at left back last season, and you think, wait a minute, he's a fit left back. Why aren't we? What? It makes you wonder. But like, anyway, he's not going to play Joe Gomez. Let's put it that way. He's not going to not play a minute and then start him in the final.
You cannot put Shaw up against Lamal like in his first.
You can't put Trippier against Lamal either.
See, but the thing is though,
the one thing he could do? Saka's quite good at tracking back on that side. You could switch Gay and Walker around, so Walker's covering Trippier for Lamal. So if you're in a back three, you've got Walker behind Trippier. If you're going to play Trippier the same starting lineup, you could play Walker on the left-sided of the three, and then he'll cover. They can double up on him.
Problem is though, you've got Williams on the other side.
You've got Williams on the other side. That's the thing though. But I think in terms of Williams is quick as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you can win really.
Maybe that's what Southgate's thinking is. He's like, I'm fucked either way, so I may as well start the same team.
I mean, I think everyone in a dog would not want Harry Kane to start this game, but he is going to. Like, let's put it that way. The problem is he's so ineffectual against any of these teams. It would be nice. It would have been nice to see at some point. It's not going to happen in this tournament, but maybe in a future friendly or something, to see Watkins and Tony together. I think that would be nice to see. Like, because I think Tony is really good at holding up the ball and quite vicious. Like, he'll fight for it, and Ollie Watkins will just run off him. And it'd be quite nice to see. It's not going to happen in this, but for a few that would be nice to see. But he's going to play the same team. Let's put it this way, yeah.
I think
he doesn't make changes. He uses the same team. He's stubborn. I think that's probably the best way to put it. He knows the way he wants to play, and he's going to stick with it.
The biggest thing for me is occupying the defenders.
Yeah, and if you play Harry Kane, they're not going to be occupied at all. They'll have so much of the ball in the back four. Navas probably start because he played pretty well, even though he's 37 now.
Is Carvajal injured?
Carvajal was injured, yeah.
Is it? I didn't know if he was suspended or injured because I knew he obviously missed the last game, but
he's suspended, so he might be back. So they might play Carvajal instead of Navas. I thought Navas did all right. Yeah. To be honest, against him back. Can
you imagine though being?
I watched this thing on Lamine Yamal earlier, and it was his work rate that helped out there. So he won.
Fucking shite.
He won 9 ground duels in that game, and it was level with the top. He was level with like Rabiot and things like this, like defensive midfielders. He literally basically marked Mbappe out of the game, which is nuts for a 16-year-old. But
I mean, obviously he's not, but he's shite, man.
Hey,
I'm saying obviously he's not, but he's shite, man.
Who?
He's rubbish. Lamar? He's bollocks, man. Trippier snaps him first half.
You know
He'll
what's
not
going to
come
happen? He's
again.
going to get nutmegged at least 4 times in the first 5 seconds.
He's going to get
You know
rinsed.
exactly what's going to happen. He's going to be caught upfield, and Jesus Navas is going to beat him in a running race. Like, Carvalho will probably start that, which means they're going to be more defensively solid on the right-hand side.
Mm.
But then who's going to occupy? Mark Cucurella is going to have a torrid time against fucking Saka, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But then Laporte and Nacho in the middle, unless Nacho won't start.
He starts.
Lenormand might come back in. She might have the French pairing in the centre of defence.
Do you know what I think's going to happen? Can I tell you now?
They're going to have it easy. It's going to be a bit similar to the Dutch game in that sense, but they're going to have a lot more of the ball and they can do a lot more with it. The one problem we will have is Rodri as well.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that. Can I tell you my vision for the game?
Go on then.
It's going to be brutal. It's going to be really hard to watch. It's going to be a lot of Spain attacking, a lot of Spain having the ball, and then around about the 80th minute, the ball is somehow.
Yeah.
No.
Pre-planned subs. They come on in 80 minutes. He's going to bring on one of the strikers on 80 minutes for Harry Kane. Like that's pre-planned. Like
no, that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be 80 odd minutes. All of our players are going to be out on their feet.
Spain get a penalty.
And then the ball's going to bounce. It's going to somehow land at the feet of your boy Jude Bellingham.
Oh, he's going to score a screamer.
And he's going to smash it. I don't think it's going to be a screamer. I just think he's going to smash it from inside the box. And he's going to run, do his celebration, and then he'll be hated in Madrid forever. Because he smashed it. And he's going to go home and get booed in every ground around Spain. Yeah. That's the premonition I've just had. And just see Jude.
If you go the other way, if you say Spain are going to win, it'll probably be like 4 or 5 nil now.
Yeah. Jude Bellingham on goal, and he goes off celebrating, shouting "Vamos!"
Celebrates it. His Real Madrid shirt underneath his England one.
Yeah. If just to think of how I think, against my wishes, I think it's the same team. If there's no injuries and nobody's like out, it starts the same team.
And that's going to be a problem. Like we say, there'll be very little press on those. Well, not a press, but there'll be no occupation of those 2 centre backs. Rodri will have a lot of the ball, and I don't think anyone will really go near him. The only person that's going to go near him is Kane if he's dropping deep, and Rodri will just walk round him because Kane's got no pace, and then or Bellingham if he's going forwards. But
you've just got to hope.
You just got to hope.
It's going to take. But the thing is, as well, you've got players in that team who I know. Rodri's like he's obviously world class. He's probably the best in his position in the world, and has been for 2-3 years at least. But the only thing you've got to hope is that obviously every one of our players turns up, and everyone who comes on the pitch is on their best game. But then they rely on players like Foden and Walker to tell the team he doesn't like it when. That's the only thing I can think, because they'll know the little bits about him. Obviously, he's a good player, but they'll say like he doesn't like it on his. If he doesn't like going into that area, he doesn't like to take it on his left foot and play. But he can, obviously. I'm not saying he can't do that. I'm just hoping that.
Doesn't prefer doing that. Like it's little
might have.
Yeah.
But in the same space, they can say the same.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, as long as our players are
They'll be telling Nico Williams, get at Kyle Walker, because one-on-ones he's not particularly that good. You wouldn't want to foot race with him, but take him on one-on-one, you're probably going to take him on one-on-one. So it's a difficult thing, isn't it?
I wonder if anyone's to go to Lamal and saying, you know that Kieran Trippier, you shouldn't be scared of him. You'll go, what is a Kieran Trippier? What is Kieran Trippier? What is a Kieran
Trippier? Actually, to be fair, because he played for Atletico, didn't he?
Atletico. I know. I just had to take it to get him.
Was probably still in nappies at that point. That was only 2 years ago. So
the thing is though, the only thing I thought in my head, right, is obviously he'll get rinsed for pace if he gets away from him, or Trippier's for us out of position, which he will be at some point. Is the way Lamal wants to go and attack, Trippier wants to defend. Trippier doesn't want to be running down to the byline. He wants the player to go inside because, one, he's right-footed, he can tackle him, and he's shoehorning them into the midfield and centre half. So that's why I'm kind of thinking it might be better, because when he's running at Shaw's, I'd be more concerned about Shaw starting this game because he's probably not, well, I'd say he's about 60-70% match fit.
He didn't really do anything, did he, at all?
And then I just think Trippier's obviously a bit more sharper. He hasn't played well, don't get me wrong, but if he wants to defend, and I'm shaping up as Kieran Trippier, you naturally, as a right footer, have your right foot as your standing foot, and then you can come across and tackle him. But then you're forcing him to go into his stronger foot. If he goes the other way, which Trippier's probably thinking he's not going to do that, and when he does do that, then we're fucked because he's going to rinse him.
Well, the only reason he cut inside against France was that what was happening is that Dembele and Mbappe weren't defending at all. So what was happening is Rabiot and Kante were going out and helping the fullbacks, but they were forcing them wide, trying to force them wide. And what was happening then is Olmo or Morata would make a run out wide, occupy the fullback, take him away, which left Yamal one-on-one with the defensive midfielder to cut inside and find that space. So the runs of the players who weren't on the ball for Spain were really effective at dragging people out of position. So
if we think, so we know that we both expect the same team to start on Wednesday to start on Sunday. I personally would love to see Palmer. I could understand Palmer not starting, even though I think he's been one of our best players. I would love just to see Watkins start, just to stretch, them.
The thing is, though, I think Palmer and Watkins play really well together, from what I can see, because Palmer looks for that forward run, that run in behind, that ball that he can, that final third little pass, doesn't he? And then Watkins makes those runs. So it'll be interesting, but then who do you sacrifice for it as well is the other thing. Obviously Harry Kane for Watkins, but then who do you sacrifice for Palmer? Do you take Saka off? Saka's actually probably been one of our best players in the last couple of games.
I'm really critical of Saka, like on an international level, just because I never really see him do anything. Even for Arsenal this season, he's had by their fans' standards, he probably hasn't had the best season. But I appreciate what he's done in an England shirt, because I think he's been an outlet. He's constantly tried to attack, and he's put the right balls. That's it. He's been positive. That's the standout thing.
He's put the balls in perfect places for an Ollie Watkins to cut across the defender and just get a flick in towards the goal. He's drilling it front post, making that defender do some work to clear it, but then there's no one sort of running in to pressurise any defenders, because Harry Kane's so far back. Like, he's still jogging back from the halfway line. Like, it's a difficult one, because that would work with Ollie Watkins again, wouldn't it? With Saka, like, you could put balls in there, but even Ivan Toney would be in that position to get
at the minute, right? At the minute, and I think it's probably potential. If he wins it, you probably might get the offer to stay on. I don't know if he will or not, but it's likely his last tournament. He's probably going to stick with these people that he's trusted for this long, like Kane, like Bellingham, but. Just to kind of, like, we'll talk about what we think Spain's going to do, but just to go back to Ollie Watkins, I don't think you can understate how good of a goal, not just because of the finish, but just because he's came on at that time.
He's not had long.
With what, like 20 minutes max that he's played, arguably been frustrated not being able to come on, to be that sharp and to train that hard, to when that moment come to pull off a finish like that, which was he could have played the whole tournament and still scored that goal. It would have been amazing. But the fact that he hadn't done all of those things in the tournament, come on in that minute to do that and deliver at that time, I just think that's like I was really emotional, like, when it happened, not just because it was like the night and got carried away. I was just like, that's what that's the spirit you need, because it's a squad game, and that just epitomises why you have a squad. And just just class. It was just absolutely mint, and I think it deserves to start because of the things that, like, I think Harry Kane on paper, based off of the goals he scored and whatever, you can look at his record and his track record. You keep Kane on the pitch because you think he can do that, but he hasn't done that, and he's had plenty of minutes to do that.
He struggles. He's losing his pace.
But then Watkins has come on and done what on paper Harry Kane is there to do. Well, not running behind, but for that finish.
Yeah, but then
do you know what I mean?
Watkins has been doing it all year, like for Aston Villa. Like that's the thing. Like he is used to it, but he's not used to not starting. I think that's one of the things, isn't it? He's not used to playing so few minutes and doing it. But it shows how much of a professional he is as well. That he comes on when he needs to and still does his job as he's doing it for Villa every week.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so that's why I think it would be good for him to start, not just because he's earned it, because of that goal or whatever, but the fact that I
think we'll be more progressive with someone like Ollie Watkins up front. I think we'll be a bit more open, maybe. Actually, I don't know if we would be more open. I think we would be more progressive, and then we'll have more attempts on goal.
You've got, I don't know, because but again, Kane hasn't done anything that justifies sounding like I'm defending him. No. But I just think the only thing I can think is being devil's advocate is he not trying to play Watkins till he feels like maybe the defence or the opposition, regardless of who it is, the defence are a bit more fatigued, so it can stretch it more effectively.
I don't think the defence were fatigued because they didn't do anything. They didn't have to do anything.
But that's what I mean. Like, is that the
thought? I honestly don't know. But the thing, I don't think you lose past Kane, but then football's such a. Football changes so quickly that you can't really be nostalgic with footballers anymore. Like you can't really go, oh well, he did it for me 6 years ago or whatever. Because 6 years ago, football's a different sport. Like players come and go, and then they get quicker, and obviously it's such a faster game now. If you are a bit slower, you need to play to your strengths, and by dropping deep, and if you can't get back up again. He's not playing to his strengths, is he? He's hindering himself, and that's why he's been a bit obsolete in these games, I think. He wants to do that, but it's not helping. I reckon he would have scored more goals if he just stayed up front, genuinely, and we tried to get in those positions and just occupy the two centre backs and give them something to think about, like muscle them off the ball or be in their space when they're on it, not rather than dropping deep. But yeah, like you say, with Ollie Watkins, he's hungry. He wants to score more goals. He's gonna occupy those defenders. He's gonna give them something to think about. And if he needs to drop deep, he's got the pace to get back into position again quickly. Is what you need. And I think the reason these players like Trippier, Kane, they play. Is nostalgia. I do think it's sometimes it is a bit like they've done it previously. On paper, he's a really good player, but if he's not having a good game,
not in the moment,
you have to change it. You can't just keep him there because oh right, yeah, but it's Harry Kane. I can't take him off. And but he did take him off, which was a good thing. Yeah, it took him 80 minutes to take him off, but he did, which is good.
Well, look, rather than kind of focus on Spain for the next part and thinking about how they're going to play, what I'd ask you that, yeah. What I would ask you is, what do you think the worst case scenario is and the best case scenario is for the way the game will pan out? So worst case to start off with. Oh, you go best.
Oh, yeah. Right, yeah. No, I'll go worst case first then. Worst case.
I want to end on a high.
Worst case is Kieran Trippier gets turned inside out by Lamine Yamal, that he scores a fucking hat trick, and then we lose 6-0 because we can't cope with Spain's constant press, and we keep sitting back like we did against Slovakia and all these teams, we sit back, let them have the ball. Like, if you sit back and let Spain have the ball, they'll score 6. Like, it's not good. That's worst case scenario. That we don't, we have 0 shots on target. They score 6 goals, 3 of them in the first half. We're completely demoralised. Everyone's calling for Gareth Southgate's head at half time, probably 20 minutes into the match. And yeah, that's a worst case scenario. And I think you'll probably agree with that. That could, I mean, we got a lot of luck, so it's probably not going to happen. And he is quite organised defensively. I think one of the last games he's conceded that many goals was when we lost 4-0 to Hungary, which again, losing 4-0 to Hungary in a Euros qualifier is pretty embarrassing. But never, we won't talk about that. But like, that has potential to happen if we're not set up in the right way. If we play the same way we did against probably any of the first 4 matches in this tournament, and give the other team too much of the ball. We did it with Denmark, and they scored from distance. We let them come at us for most of the game, even though we could have just kept the ball and controlled it, and then won that 1-0 or whatever. If we let Spain come at us, it could be a fucking nightmare watch for everyone.
So that's the worst.
That's the worst case scenario, and you probably agree with me there. I would have thought, yeah. Worst
unequivocally.
Case, I think you were cringing quite a bit, so like, and crying inside. So yeah. Best case scenario is Spain have an off day, which is the luck coming in, right? Which they haven't had an off day yet, and I think we hold out and nick something. So it's going to be one of our substitutes do it again. We make Spain ineffective, so we condense the pitch a bit, don't let them have too much of the ball, we hold on to the ball when we need to, and then it's going to be one of the subs that scores a winner again. And it could be 1-0. I think that's the way Gareth likes playing. Genuinely people shitting themselves for 80 minutes. Most people are asleep until they hear some screaming and then hope it's an England goal.
So worst case is we get battered, and the best case is
narrow win.
We bought the living daylights out of the Spain back line.
Realistically, the way we play, I think that's the best case scenario is that we're going to win narrowly. I mean, we don't spank teams, do we? And we're not going to spank teams with the way they're set up.
It's by 1 goal, isn't it? It's either 2-1, 1-0.
It's usually a late goal, and it's usually after we've withstanded a lot of heavy pressure.
I don't know.
Best case scenario, we win 3-0. Like fucking Bellingham scores a hat trick, and then in the first 10 minutes, and then we can defend.
I don't know. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for us, and I hope it doesn't happen. But I don't think it'd be the worst thing. No, not even shit. How's it to go goal down?
Yeah, like if you look at the previous games, we've gone a goal down in pretty much all. Wow, Switzerland, Netherlands, Slovakia. Yeah, we went a goal down in all 3, didn't we? Knockout matches, and we started playing more progressively. Now, I think that's on the players to go, shit, we're losing. But, like, yeah, I think maybe going a goal down early, though. You wouldn't want to go down a goal down against Spain, like, 88 minutes, would you?
No.
In us to get back.
I think
if it's early. There's one thing that, tactically, in terms of what France were trying to do, and I think this is could work in our favour. The only issue is Kieran Trippier. But so the way France were trying to attack at Spain is Cucurella plays as left back. Yeah, his heading ability is pretty poor. So what France were trying to do was hit diagonal crosses to the far left post and get someone to run in with a header. So if you could try and move Kane out into occupying the space that Cucurella's in, and then hit crossfield passes over to the far left post, he could get more luck. The thing is, there you've got Kieran Trippier who has to hit the crosses. He could do it because he could cross from deep. He could cut it back on his right foot and whip one. He doesn't need to use his left foot. It's not an in-swinger as such, or swung in with your left foot, because the goalie will probably pick it up. You want to sort of hit a right foot pass across over the defenders. But that's one way that we could get at Spain. The way they stopped that was deep defending. Danny Carvalho and Lamine Yamal will double up on that player who's trying to hit a crossfield pass.
I think we always just look at it and think, I don't know if it's just like a FIFA generation thing or whatever, but like you think they've got Dembele, they've got Mbappe.
Yeah, they think of pace, don't they?
You just think, oh my god, like they've got better players than us. And realistically, I think Mbappe, he's obviously good. I'm not like saying he's not, but like it doesn't really like come to life in these kind of tournaments. I mean, he had one outstanding game and he still lost that game, which was in the World Cup final.
That was something else, that final though.
That was like out of this world.
This final was not going to be like that. If it is,
and that's
I'll
what
be
I mean.
Surprised, and I'll eat a hat on the next pod.
But the way I'm trying to think of it as like a team coming into this game like Spain. They'll be confident, and I don't think they'll fear us, but I think they'll be like, oh, fuck, we're in for a game today, mind.
Yeah.
Not like because we'll kick them off the pitch, just because it'll be like, they're going to be so hard to break down, and if we do like lose it in transition, not because like we'll spring, but you have got players like Foden, like Bellingham, like Kane, who can punish it.
I think
it's just we haven't shown that in the game so far.
I think if we do,
but they could.
I think it will go down as a similar tournament and a similar run to a final with the likes of Denmark and Greece winning it, because it was unexpected. Well, it wasn't unexpected. I think the reason that we were the bookies' favourites because so many people bet in England. But like, I don't think there's any other reason for that. But like, it was ground out, defensively solid, and you won games that you maybe shouldn't have with a bit of luck. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does. Perfect sense.
That's the way Greece did it. That's the way Denmark did it back in '92 or whatever. But like, yeah, they did a lot of looking at Denmark winning it in the warm up to the tournament. To be fair, which is interesting.
I just think that we don't really need to. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because it's the final now, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. We're coming here, blah, blah. But I don't really fear Spain. I genuinely was a bit more nervous about the Dutch because it was just like, when it comes to it, they just pump the ball forward, and I don't know if we'll be able to hand that resilience. Whereas Spain have just got that unprecedented constant pass, push up the pitch,
play a bit more,
retain the ball.
They've evolved from tiki-taka a little bit, though. They're less small triangles and they push it a bit more progressively forwards, which is a worry, because if it was tiki-taka, I think we could have coped with it a little bit, because we could have like just let them do it in certain areas of the pitch and sort of crowded it out.
So Matt, we've danced around the question. Now we're at the end of the podcast. Result. What's your predictions? What's your prediction? I don't want head and heart. I want just
really
instant.
Oh. You go first, mate.
I'm going England 2-1.
See, I have no idea.
It's coming up. It's coming. Football's coming up.
One though, to be honest, because like my heart says England 2-1, but my head says Spain. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like realistically, I think. The thing is though, is okay, yeah, 2-1 England with the last minute goal, and we've fucking shithoused them for the most of the game. Yeah, let's go with that, shall we?
Yes. What an English way to do it. Shithouses. all the way
absolute.
through the tournament,
They
stink the
they will
tournament out.
literally all pull out fucking 8 out of 10s, the Spanish, and we will absolutely be dog shite. But for some reason, they won't score. Like that's what I'm hoping for.
Alright, I'm going to abandon this thought, and then my reality is I think Spain score within the first 5 minutes, and then it's just a horrible game for us.
Well, you reckon it's my horror show that I explained earlier?
I don't think we get beat 4 or 5-0 or anything, but
No,
yeah.
There's a possibility that could happen, isn't there? Let's put it this way: like there's a possibility that we win 5. No, there isn't. No, I'll cut back on my sentence before I finish.
I think. Do you know what? Like, to me, stranger things have happened, but I can't see them. I just don't see. I don't think Southgate would let that happen. I think if we went 2-0 down, he'd change it. Because we're not going. I don't know. I just think we're too defensively.
He hasn't been 2-0 down that often, has he?
But again, that's why I don't think we'll get hammered off them. I think
apart
if
from
we
when
do
we played
get beat,
Hungary in that game and we were 2-0 down and ended up losing 4-0 because he.
All right, Matt.
For it.
All right, mate. We haven't forgot about Hungary. Don't worry. But no, I think if we're going to go for it, just to round up the pod, I think if we're going to win it, I see us having to score 2. We can't rely on just 1 goal.
No.
And realistically, I think Spain probably is winning 2-0 with a midway goal in the first half and a goal late on in the second half.
Yeah.
And we huff a puck. We huff a puck.
That makes sense, and like you won't want to see it, and it'll be a tough game because if it's any way that they've played before and any way that we've played before, they're going to control possession, and English fans won't like us not having the ball like for a long period of the game. But like, yeah. But there's a possibility there. But you never know. He might completely throw out the rule book, put a different 11 out, and we go really aggressive and take the game to Spain.
I mean, if we're going to lose,
just falling into another dimension there. But yeah.
and this is something that we'll never know. But I would like to is it worth not just going for it and getting beat than being a shit house?
I would rather.
Would you rather lose 3-0 in the final than lose at 1-0 and just not get close?
What, and be just completely humbled at this point?
Well, put it this way: would you rather get beat 3-0 and come away and think, you know what, the guys like they attacked, they tried, and it just didn't happen? Or would you rather lose it? Would you rather lose it, be tight, and lose 1-0?
If you know it's lost pretty early on, I think the 3-0 is probably fine, isn't it? You'll have less of a heart attack. It's more gut wrenching if you lose 1-0 quite late on. It is, isn't it? Of course it is.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
But let's have let's have a little bit of positivity. We'll start off right. Southgate's got us this far. He's done it before. He's got us to the final again. He's not going to change anything, and that's the strength. We know what he's going to do, so just go with it. Like, put everything behind him and just go. We know exactly the team he's going to start. We know exactly how we're going to play. Over to you, Spain. What are you going to do? Are you going to really try and break us down? Just forget about it, mate. Just give us a ball. Let Bellingham score, and piss off. Piss off back to Spain. Go and eat some tapas. Fuck off. It's our turn. It's our turn. It's coming home.
That was a proper English rant. Proper England.
Come on, England.
No, but it'll be lovely to see us win a tournament. Let's put it that way.
Well, mate, the only thing we can do now, we can speculate, we can hope, we can dream.
Watch that game on Sunday.
We can dream, but yeah, let's just get behind the boys on Sunday. And come on, England, it's coming home. I'll catch you in a bit, mate.
Yeah, take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.